Hello everyone, it's me, Max, back again for the first time in a very long time with the video, and I'm very sorry for a lack of uploads, especially ASMR ones, for a long time, so I thought I'd make up for that by doing a video showcasing my Blu-ray collection. So, I have a lot of things on this shelf. I have, series and a bunch of Criterions, which are, like, if you don't know, a very special 4K, I don't know the 4K, but very like high quality releases of films. So, for example, just got a bunch up here, and I've got some other things and whatnot. But I wanted to do a video just on my Blu-rays because I have a lot of physical media. I love physical media. I love physical, obviously, books and vinyl. But there's a lot. I have quite a lot of DVDs as well, so I just thought I'd go through and just do a little video like this, purely just because I haven't uploaded on here doing an ASMR video for so long, and I hope the sound quality is good because I've kind of forgotten how to do everything. So, and people were always saying that my video should have been longer, so you want a longer video, hopefully you all enjoy it, and make sure to comment and tell me what your favourite movie is and your favourite movie from here and such. Any other comments are appreciated, so don't worry. So, and I'll do another video for all these probably at some point. So we're starting off here, I'll say alphabetically. This is 8.5 by Federico Fellini, Italian surrealist classic movie from 1963, I believe. A lot of these films I have not seen in a long time. This is one of them. But it's a very good movie. I remember liking it a lot. It's about a filmmaker who's trying to find inspiration for his next film, but he can't, and he sort of retreats into like his mind, almost. It's a surrealist movie. It's a classic. Martin Scorsese has a quote on its DVD, Blu-ray. Sorry, this is a very good film. I'd recommend a lot of these, to be honest. I think these are all great movies for the most part. American Beauty. Once again, I have not watched this film in a very, very long time, but I remember really, really enjoying it. It was like a really funny, dark comedy, complete like deconstruction of suburban America. I'll say a bit more bigger, it's a bigger film like that, big budget, but a great cast. Kevin Spacey's also not exactly a great guy, but he's really good in this movie. Annette Bening's great. Gosh, who else is in this film? Mena Suvari, Thora Birch is in it. Oh, Chris Cooper's in it. Gosh, who's that other actor? Oh, Peter Gallagher's in it, I'm pretty sure. I feel like Peter Gallagher from the OC is in it. Here's After Hours, my favourite Martin Scorsese films. It's about a guy who gets caught up in New York after hours. Very funny, weird. It's kind of my kind of movie, funny and weird. And it stars Griffin Dunne and Rosanna Arquette, and that's a great one. I got that years ago when it didn't exist on Criterion yet, so gosh, I'm sorry I'm not used to holding the camera like this, but I'm trying to not tie my hands. Here's Annie Hall, big Woody Allen fan, filmmaker, obviously. I know his name's quite controversial, but I'm a big fan of his films. I think they're very funny, and I think this is one of the most accurate portrayals of like a relationship ever committed to film. It's very funny, and I don't like the assertion that Woody Allen is some kind of narcissist, because like this is probably his most famous movie, and the entire time he's pretty much at fault for the relationship going sour. Like, that's the whole point of the movie. So if you view Woody Allen movies like that, I think you should probably review them in a different context. But this is a really funny movie. Jeff Goldblum's in it as well, and there's a bunch of people in it. It's a great film. Man Escaped by Bresson. I haven't watched this film, so I can't say anything about it. Apocalypse Now, Francis Ford Coppola. Once again, I haven't actually watched this film yet, so I can't say anything about that either. Here's Stolen Kisses by Francois Truffaut. I don't want to pronounce the name wrong, but this is a great, funny French New Wave film. It's about a guy who comes home from the military, and he basically tries to romance a woman. It's a very free flowing movie. It's pretty funny. Jean-Pierre Lude, I think think you say his name. He's a fantastic actor. He's very good in it. Barton Fink, my favourite Coen Brothers film. John Turturro and John Goodman. It's about a playwright who goes to Hollywood and descends into a surrealist thing. It's a really, really funny movie. This is one of the best. I highly recommend it if you haven't seen Barton Fink, especially if you're like a writer or a creative. Then I've got the original Batman, not the original, but the Burton Batman and the Schumacher Batmans. I literally got these years ago. I like the first Batman. I don't mind Batman Forever. Batman and Robin's fun. It's not good, but it's fun. I'm glad we passed the point of everyone saying it's like the worst movie ever made, because it's so not. Because we've had like Batman vs Superman, which is like a terrible movie. Being John Malkovich, Spike Jonze directed, Charlie Kaufman wrote it. Great cast. You've got John Cusack, he's one of my favourite actors, Cameron Diaz, Kathleen Keener, and John Malkovich. It's a very funny trip movie. It's about a guy who discovers a doorway into the mind of John Malkovich. It's just brilliant. I have no idea how Charlie Kaufman came up with it. Brilliant. Here's Blade, the Blade trilogy. My favourite superhero movies, probably. Comic book movies. Really good. The first two are really good. First one's great. And then the second one, Guillermo del Toro directing, had great special effects, but Wesley Snipes is so cool. And I liked when he showed up in the new Deadpool movie. This is the Coen Brothers' first movie. I have quite a lot of Coen Brothers movies. I'm not a big fan of this one, but like once again, a rewatch could change it. I haven't seen it in years. Obviously, rest in peace to David Lynch, the greatest filmmaker ever, probably. Rewatched this just the other day. It still is an absolute masterpiece. If you haven't ever watched a David Lynch film, no better time than now. Go pause whatever you're doing and go watch Blue Velvet. It's his best and probably one of his more accessible ones, but it's still dark and mysterious and, experimental. David Lynch, it's great. Boogie Nights, my favourite Paul Thomas Anderson film. This is a great, darkly funny, great long drama. It's basically Goodfellas, if Goodfellas is about the 70s porn scene. You've got like Burt Reynolds and Julianne Moore, Mark Wahlberg, and Heather Graham. A bunch of people in that movie. Don Cheadle's in it. Great film. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. One of my favourite westerns. Not my favourite, but it's one of my favourite western films. I haven't seen that many westerns, admittedly, but I love this film. And if you like the song Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, that was written for this movie. So, Casablanca, just a classic 1940s movie. Bogart, Bergman, so good. So this is a really, really good movie. It's one of those like classics that it's this or Citizen Kane, like a black and white 40s movies. This is the better movie. I love Orson Welles and I like Citizen Kane a lot, but Casablanca this still holds up so well. I think it's a romantic drama. People sometimes mistake it for being like a noir. It's not. It's a romantic drama. Really good. Peter Lorre and Claude Rains, bunch of great, very old actors in that movie. Casino. Haven't seen this. Can't say anything about it. I've seen a bit of this movie, but I haven't seen the full thing. But I do love Martin Scorsese. Chinatown. This is one of the best movies ever made. Nicholas Singer's probably the best performance in a film ever, next to like, gosh, if I talk about male actors, it's between this, Martin Sheen in Badlands, and Henry Fonda in 12 Angry Men. Probably, off the top of my head, maybe, I don't know. But, great mystery film. The Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I love aliens. I love alien movies. This one is it's probably the best alien film. That isn't Alien, the series Alien. Richard Dreyfuss is so good in this. Steven Spielberg, it's a classic if you've never seen it. It's so good. Color of Money, another Martin Scorsese film. Two of my favourite actors, pretty okay movie. It's not one of Scorsese's best, but I do enjoy it. Chinois. Jean-Luc Godard. Another Jean-Pierre Lou movie. I'm sorry for these pronunciations, I don't speak French. Not for everyone. Very experimental, political movie, but I do love this film. Crimes and Misdemeanors, one of Woody Allen's best movies. Another very funny but very dark, and a great moral dilemma at the centre of this movie. The Crow, Brendan Lee. I don't actually like this movie anymore. It's been a while since I watched it, but I think it's a bit corny and a bit like stylish to the point where there's like nothing underneath. But I've never read the comics. I want to point that out because the comics are probably much better. But great soundtrack. That's pretty much the reason people like this movie. It's got such a great soundtrack, so they watch the movie, but the soundtrack is really good. I'm a big Wes Anderson fan, so Darjeeling Limited, love this movie. Got Jason Schwartzman, one of my favourite actors. A lot of people don't like this one, I like this movie. Dead Man, Jarmusch, haven't seen, so I can't say anything on it. Do the Right Thing, Spike Lee. Pretty good filmmaker Spike Lee is sometimes. He can be really great, and this is probably his best one. Just so relevant and funny, but serious and just very well written, and amazing soundtrack as well. Great like R&B and stuff, like the 80s on there, like Al Jarreau does a song. Very good stuff. Have not yet seen, so I can't speak on it. Donnie Darko, I used to hate Donnie Darko. Really strange, I used to hate this movie. Then I watched it, I watched the director's cut, and it just clicked. And I've seen this movie several times. It's one of my most watched films. It's kind of genius. It's also kind of not. It's more admirable than it actually like accomplishes. I feel like it's about a high school student who he survives gosh, how do I even explain Donnie Darko? He survives a engine for like a plane, like a turbine plane falling on him. But then he has to like save the world before the world ends because he was supposed to. It's great. If you haven't seen Donnie Darko, you should go watch Donnie Darko. Great soundtrack as well. Down by Law, just a really funny prison comedy. Tom Waits, John Lurie, Roberto Benigni. If you've never seen Jim Jarmusch, highly recommend his movies. Very easygoing movies, very fun. Haven't seen A Departed. I haven't seen Doctor Strangelove either, unfortunately. Oh gosh, this thing's coming off. So these some other things here. Pedro Almodovar, I'm not actually a huge fan of his movies. Godard, one of my favourite filmmakers. Great French director, a bunch of his movies here you can see. I haven't watched this. This is a really long movie. This is a great trilogy, the Three Colors trilogy. Great French movies and Polish movies, technically. Red, especially, is very, very good. So here we got Ed Wood. I don't like Johnny Depp as a person or an actor, but I like him in this movie. I think he did do some good performances, and this is one of them. I also don't really like Tim Burton very much. But this one is really good. It's a very, very funny movie about Ed Wood, the filmmaker. It's great. Kaspar Hauser by Werner Herzog. I have not seen this movie. I vaguely know what it's about, but I can't speak on it. Into the Void. I've not seen this movie. I don't like Gaspar Noé, but I do want to give this one a shot, just because it just seems kind of interesting. But I think his movies are just a very, childish and shallow. Another David Lynch movie, Elephant Man, one of my least favourite David Lynch movies, but it's still really great. But it's beautiful, very well directed, but it's just not one of my favourite David Lynch films. I do think it's great though. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, classic film. I mean, like a modern classic, like it's 20 years old, I think. Where basically these two people who've just been in a relationship, she undergoes an operation to have her memories of him removed. And it's another Charlie Kaufman who wrote Being John Malkovich. He wrote this. And Michel Gondry, who directs music videos mostly. Some great music videos. Did the film. Really good movie. Evil Dead trilogy, just a classic. All three movies are just excellent. Evil Dead 2 is also the best, but it's just a really funny series of horror comedies. Well, the first one's more just horror, and the last one's more just a comedy, but they're good. Fallen Angels by Wong Kar-wai. quite a popular movie, I feel, in terms of like aesthetic sites on the internet. Hong Kong. I think it's Hong Kong. I'm pretty sure. Gosh, I feel like an idiot if it's not. If this isn't Hong Kong, please do tell me otherwise. But I'm pretty sure Wong Kar-wai is from Hong Kong. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. This is the movie that got me into cinema. Like, is a deeper art form, and loved Johnny Depp in this movie. I think this is the other movie. This and Ed Wood are like the two movies Johnny Depp is brilliant in, and it makes me wish I liked his other movies more. But I just feel like, especially in the 2000s after Pirates of the Caribbean, he just like got too big of an ego and stopped caring about giving good performances in movies, because he's a talented guy, but I just feel like he's also a raging narcissist. So, but I feel like his performance in this movie is really good. I think, because I know a lot of people don't like Johnny Depp, but I still recommend this movie because, you know, I think he does a great performance in this film. I have not seen the Dolls trilogy yet, unfortunately. I love Clint Eastwood, yet to see these movies. The Graduate, one of my just all-time favourite movies. Dustin Hoffman, Anne Bancroft, Catherine Ross. If you've never seen it, it's basically about a college graduate who begins an affair with his, I don't think she's his direct neighbour, but she's Mrs. Robinson. If you know the song, Simon & Garfunkel song, it was written for the movie, but it wasn't actually in the film. The version in the film's a demo. This is just a classic, very funny film. Comedy vs. Hotel, don't care for this movie at all. I said I like Wes Anderson, do not care for this one. Grosse Pointe Blank, this is one of those movies that I just watched years ago and I just got it on Blu-ray because why not? I don't remember much of it, but I love John Cusack, and I remember it had a really great soundtrack of like 80s alternative, which was really great. Minnie Driver's also really good in it as well. It's funny, it's action-packed, it's how you do an action comedy. It's from the late 90s. So I probably should rewatch that sometime because I remember enjoying it greatly. Here we have Heathers. Probably going to presume a lot of people have seen. It's quite a famous movie. Winona Ryder and Christian Slater, both great. I mean, Winona Ryder isn't actually that great of an actress, but she's at the same time like really good and iconic. And I love Winona Ryder, but she's not the best actress in the world. Christian Slater is kind of similar thing where he's just doing like a Jack Nicholson impression, and most of his movies suck, but he's also really likable. I think they're both really likable as people and actors. So, and this is just a very funny movie. It has the late great Shannon Doherty, aka the best Halliwell sister from Charmed, in it. Oh, I can't remember the name of right now. Hang on. She's one of them. She's not Phoebe. I know that much. That's also been all I know. Oh gosh. She's Pro, I think, because Piper's Holly Marie Combs. Yeah, okay. Anyway, this is Her by Joaquin Phoenix. I do not care for this movie. I think it's boring and it looks nice. Great performances. Just think it's pretty shallow and dull. I know a lot of people love that film though, so I won't speak too much of it. Now this is a much better movie that a lot of people don't like. Inherent Vice, Joaquin Phoenix, based on a book I absolutely love by Thomas Pynchon. It's like a stoned out hippie detective movie. Really very funny. I love this film. Paul Thomas Anderson, again, one of my favourite filmmakers. David Lynch's Inland Empire. I watched this the other night. It's like being stuck in a nightmare. I can't describe it, just like watch it. I haven't seen, so I can't comment. Another Wes Anderson movie I don't care for that much, but I do love the stop motion. Jules and Jim by Francois Truffaut. When I said I don't have a favourite movie, actually I don't know if I did say that. Hang on, let me just think. Either way, I don't really have like a major favourite movie, but it's between this and another film. But this is really good. It's a romantic drama, but it's more so about the relationship between the two friends, Jules and Jim. And again, if you've never watched this movie, it's so good. It's so fun and beautiful. And the editing is really good. It's so well edited. Judgment Night. I haven't seen this film, but I like many other people know it because it's got the soundtrack where it's like a bunch of rock bands doing songs of rappers. Sonic Youth and Cypress Hill, for example. And I really like the Teenage Fan Club and De La Soul track on the soundtrack. Here's King of Comedy. one of Martin Scorsese's best movies. Very funny. Robert De Niro and Jerry Lewis. It's basically like Joker, but good. So, Leon the Professional. I like this movie. I know a lot of people don't. I think this movie is really good. I don't know. I like the way Luc Besson does these sort of like thrillers, but kind of artsy in a way. I don't know how to put it, but I really like this film. Natalie Portman gives such a good performance, and she's like really young in the film. So, Licorice Pizza, one of my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movies. I think I've briefly mentioned in my videos before my huge crush on Alana Haim from the band Haim, but yeah, this movie started it because she's in it. Really funny, sweet little 1970s coming of age type movie. Philip Seymour Hoffman's son is the main character, and there's a bunch of great actors in it. I mean, Tom Waits is in there, Bradley Cooper, Sean Penn. I mean, Sean Penn's not a great actor, but he's good in this movie. And Benny Safdie from the Safdie brothers, who did Uncut Gems. That Benny Safdie from those guys. This is not a German art house drama. This is A Life Less Ordinary. Danny Boyle did this after Trainspotting. Another movie people do not care for that I think is great. I remember really enjoying this movie. It's great cast, and it's just really unique. It's got a great soundtrack, and Ewan McGregor's great in it. I really like this film. Sue me. Lost in Translation, pretty good film. I own the score. I own the soundtrack on vinyl. I think I've talked about it before. Yeah, I like this film. It's not a movie I love or anything. One of my favourites. It's a good movie. I like it. Magnolia, Paul Thomas Anderson. I think his longest movie. Yeah, this is a huge film. Great cast. William H. Macy, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Julianne Moore, John C. Reilly. John C. Reilly in like a serious role. Though the movie does have elements of comedy in it as well. People always forget how funny Paul Thomas Anderson is. Most of his movies are like quite comedic. But I know this is some people aren't big into this film, but I like this film. Once again, I haven't seen it in years. It's very long, so I haven't rewatched it. But it's a good drama about like people in interlocking lives. There's been a lot of movies made like this, like Crash, but this is like probably the only good one. This is like not Oscar bait garbage, so this one's good. Manhunter. I recently read Red Dragon, and I watched Hannibal the series, and so basically this movie is based on Red Dragon, which is the first novel with Hannibal Lecter in it, the Thomas Harris novel. This is the best adaptation of that. They did another movie which is not very good. Anthony Hopkins is great in it, but yeah. This I think is on par with Silence of the Lambs. I think they're both masterpieces, like both all-time best movies would both be very high up there. This one's more stylized, whereas Silence of the Lambs is like a very scary movie, but it's so good, especially if you can get this on like a good quality Blu-ray. This is something you have to watch in high quality, because it's Michael Mann, who did Heat and has such a great visual style. He's such a good visual filmmaker and a good screenwriter too, because he wrote this. Gosh, I could talk about this movie. I love this film. Got The Master, another Paul Thomas Anderson movie. I kind of don't have much more to say about. I have like most of his movies on Blu-ray. It's a good film. Don't love this one, but like, you know, I haven't seen it in years. Mean Streets, Martin Scorsese's first big film. Just one of his best as well. Memento, Nolan's best probably. So we go a bit further down here to the last row of Blu-rays. And if you want me to do more videos like this, like talking about the DVDs and such, I'm happy to be obliged. Midnight Cowboy with Dustin Hoffman and Jon Voight. Jon Voight is Angelina Jolie's dad, I want to say. This is a good movie. I might as well just take these out now because I can do it because it's further down. It's about two hustlers. Well, he's a hustler on the streets of New York in the late 60s. And John Schlesinger, we say his name, was the first openly gay guy to win Best Directing Oscar, I believe. Something to do with that. It's got like homoerotic themes to it. Miller's Crossing, one of my favourite Coen Brothers movies. I love this film. The scene where Albert Finney is getting his house attacked and he's listening to Danny Boy, and then he just comes out and he's a fucking badass. It's so good. Sorry, I don't swear in these videos very often. Sorry for that to caught you off guard. Gabriel Byrne as well, very underrated actor. It's them basically doing like a 1920s Prohibition era noir, really good gangster flick sort of thing. I'd highly recommend that. There's a fantastic scene where he's like, "Please, Tommy, look into your heart." What heart? Gosh, if you need to watch the movie if you haven't, because that is like the best scene in cinema history. So, Moonrise Kingdom, great, one of Wes Anderson's funniest. I love this one. I don't have any other Wes Andersons, I don't think, on Blu-ray. I have them besides Criterion, so I'll go for them another time. But this one's really sweet. I like this film. This is a cute movie. Bruce Willis is really funny in it. My Improv Idaho, River Phoenix and Keanu Reeves, of course. If you've never watched this one, it's a homosexual erotic road movie. It's really good. It's one of the best queer films, in my opinion. It's and River Phoenix is just so, I mean, what a talented guy. But Keanu Reeves is he's not a good actor, but this is probably his best serious film, purely because everything else about it is so good. But I'd recommend this one. It's weird and abstract, but I feel like enough people like the two lead actors to like this movie. So, Natural Born Killers. This was one of the first movies I ever watched when I got into cinema, and it's still to this day, I mean, it just blew me away. It really, really blew me away. The movie did. The way it's shot and edited, and I still hold it in quite high regard. I'd have to re-watch it though, purely just because it's been a long time back. This is an excellent film. Juliette Lewis and Woody Harrelson and Robert Downey Jr. are really good in that movie. New York Stories. This is Martin Scorsese, Woody Allen, and Francis Ford Coppola. Yeah, skip this movie unless you're an absolute completionist of these directors. There's no reason to watch this film. Blows. Night on Earth, one of my favourite Jim Jarmusch films. Look at that cast. I mean, you got Gus from Breaking Bad is in this. Beatrice Daly, Roberto Benigni, a bunch of great people from all over the world in this film. Winona Ryder, of course. Tom Waits did the music. Sorry, it's in German. So unless you're German, I think it's in German. So unless you're German, you won't be able to read that. But it's just like 5 little vignettes about taxi drivers on a certain night on Earth. And when I say certain, that isn't like a hint at anything. It's literally just a random night, but it's 5 different stories. It's very fun. La Femme Nikita, I haven't watched this one yet, so. No Country for Old Men. This is a great movie because everyone tells you it's a great movie, and it is a great movie. Some great actors in it. It's a Cormac McCarthy adaptation. So, yeah, it's great. I had to read, not this one, I had to read another Cormac McCarthy novel. What was it? The Road. Yes, for university, which was good. And this is, yeah, great movie. I haven't seen this one though. Another Coen's movie. I've not seen this one. I've got so many of these I need to get on. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I think the only Tarantino movie next to one that's going to come up I have on Blu-ray. I don't really care for Quentin Tarantino that much anymore, but I really like this movie. I do love this film. This is a great movie. I just love the 60s vibe and great cast as well. I don't know. I have mixed feelings on Tarantino's movies, but I do like that one a lot. This isn't a movie. Technically it is, but it's split up into episodes. If you've never watched Over the Garden Wall, you are missing out. Next time it is fall, go watch Over the Garden Wall. One of the greatest animated movies or shows ever. Really good stuff. Paris, Texas, Wim Wenders. Great, slow, atmospheric drama. Yeah, you can read that on the back there. Harry Dean Stanton is so good in that movie. One of my favourite actors. Paths of Glory. I haven't watched this yet. Stanley Kubrick film, I haven't watched that one. Performance, I haven't seen this movie either, but my friend is a big fan. I actually have a few friends who are a big fan, and Mick Jagger is in it, so I have to watch it at some point. Phantasm. This is like a cult classic horror film from the 1970s. Bit silly, but it's Marvel. It's got that great sort of low budget energy to it. I'd recommend that if you're into horror films. Phantom of the Paradise by Brian De Palma, one of my favourite directors. Jessica Harper, who I also have a huge crush on. The great Paul Williams, great songwriter. It's a musical thing. It's so good. I'm just going to look here. This is a really great movie, and I think if you like musicals, if you like the Rocky Horror Picture Show, you like this, because they're both sort of rock musicals from the 70s. And I prefer Phantom just because it's like a masterpiece. I mean, Rocky Horror is brilliant too, don't get me wrong, but I love this movie, and I think more people should see it. But a lot of people have seen it. It's a cult classic, like a lot of movies I love, but this one especially. Really good soundtrack. And then we got Psycho. I haven't actually watched this version, the 4K Ultra HD, but I love this movie. I love Anthony Perkins, such a great actor. This movie still, I think, is scary as hell in the best way. A bit outdated toward the end, if you know what I'm talking about, but it's such a good film. But I presume that's one that everyone knows. Psycho, so there's no point really me talking about it too much. Here's The Purple Rose of Cairo, another Woody Allen movie. He's not in this one, so if you don't like Woody Allen, watch this one. Jeff Daniels, who is like one of the most underrated leading men of the 80s. So funny. He's a character in a film who comes out of the screen and he starts a romance with this woman. It's funny. It's heartfelt. I think heartfelt's the best way to describe it. It's very sweet, and also the ending is kind of like heartbreaking in a way, but it's a beautiful movie, heartfelt and all that. Yeah. Anyway, I wouldn't mind to rewatch that at some point. Raging Bull, haven't seen yet. Rebel Without a Cause, James Dean, Natalie Wood, who's someone else I do like Natalie Wood a lot. Very beautiful woman who got murdered by her husband, and he never got arrested for it because he can never prove it, but we all know he did it. This is just a great classic teen drama. James Dean, just so good. I mean, I have a thing for James Dean as well, don't get me wrong. I feel like even straight men like James Dean. He's just one of those guys because he was just so cool. It's a shame he never did more movies, but this movie is, this is a great film. I don't know how popular it is with younger people in terms of like old movies, but I'd recommend it. I say it as if I'm not a younger person myself, but you know what I mean. Repo Man, Emilio Estevez, Harry Dean Stanton, Alex Cox, punk rock odyssey with a brilliant punk rock soundtrack, and it's about a car that has some kind of atomic weapon in it, sort of. That's all I'll say. It's not really actually an atomic weapon, but it's kind of got that sort of nuclear era vibe. That's very clearly inspiration. Beautiful California cinematography. Gosh, if you've never seen this movie, this is another one. Great cult classic, Repo Man. Just so many of these I'd love to just rewatch, honestly. Now, Reservoir Dogs, this is my favourite Tarantino. I love this movie, and I love Steve Buscemi. About a bunch of guys do a heist. The heist goes wrong, told in non-linear fashion. It seems a bit overdone these days, maybe, the movie, but back when it first came out, I presume, this wasn't seen in, like, mainstream American cinema the way that, it was done. At least not, like, since, the 1950s, like, a new generation of people discover this kind of movie through that. I don't think I can even show the cover of this movie, so I'm not going to get it out. This is Salo. Now, if you know what Salo is, I want to reassure you I have not watched this film. I'm just curious at how bad it is, but I do like other movies made by the same director, Pasolini. He did see some other very good, non-disturbing movies, like Teorama is really good, so I got it just out of curiosity, but I don't think I can show the actual cover. It's apparently really messed up, which is why I haven't watched it yet. I'm like trying to wait till the perfect time. Read the perfect time. Just wait till it's like the last thing on my shelf, and I'm like, you know what? I'll watch Salem and just see how bad it is. Not bad in terms of like quality, but you know, to quote Lana, if when you know, you know. Anyway, Shawshank Redemption. This movie blows. I do not care what anyone says, man. It's such a boring movie. It's so dull and uninteresting. It takes zero risks. The movie sucks. I haven't watched Shiva Baby yet. I mainly just love this movie cover, and Emma Seligman, she's really good. I watched her movie Bottoms, which was very funny, which had Rachel Sennett and Ayo Edebiri in it. And Rachel Sennett's another, whatever, sue me. You know, she's very funny, and you know, I may not have a thing for her as well. Here's Shock Treatment. This is the Rocky Horror kind of sequel, which is very weird. Nobody has seen it, but I really like this film. It's really fun. It's got a bunch of great music in it. It's about Brad and Janet, but they aren't Brad and Janet. But that's good, because Jessica Harper's a way better singer than Susan Sarandon, as much as I love Susan Sarandon. Rick Miles in this. Barry Humphries. Is that his name, I believe? My mind's kind of drawing a blank right now. Is it? Yeah, it's Barry Humphries. He's in it. This is a really fun movie. Great soundtrack. Seriously, go check that out. Good musical. Southland Tales. The guy who directed Donnie Darko did this movie. It stars. It's got Buffy, The Rock, and Stifler, but it's really good. It makes no sense, and everyone hated it when it came out. But it's really good. It's funny. It's nonsensical. But like, it's also not nonsensical. A lot of it was cut out in the edit, and also it just, I don't know. I don't want to write it off as that much, but it is a weird film. It's got an amazing ensemble cast, like Curtis Armstrong, Janine Garofalo, Nora Dunn, Christopher Lambert, Bai Ling, John Lovitz, Mandy Moore. Gosh, what's the other guy's name? Amy Poehler. Is Wally Shawn in this? Right? Yeah, Wally Shawn. Kevin Smith is in it. Justin Timberlake is in it. A bunch of people here, I pretty much know all those names. So, that's a really movie. I haven't seen Solaris. It's the original Tarkovsky, not the Clooney remake. Strange Days, one of my favourite underrated movies in the 90s. It's like a Philip K. Dick style dystopian film where basically Ray Fiennes he sells these lightweight memory things that you put them on and you relive somebody else's memory. And gosh, this is a really great movie. It was written by James Cameron. Here's Stanley Kubrick, one of the best filmmakers of all time. I've seen all of these besides Barry Lyndon. So yeah, if you don't know these movies, once again, these are all really popular movies. My favourite's Eyes Wide Shut, but these are great filmmaker. I also have not seen Stalker. Of course, I've got the original Star Wars trilogy, the only good Star Wars trilogy. This is I love Star Wars. New Hope's my favourite. I adore that film so much. But I had to have this, but everyone knows Star Wars, and I'm a huge Star Wars fan. So. Subway, this is the other Luc Besson film. This is my favourite one of his. Isabelle Adjani is so cool. This is a great movie. It's like a thriller set on the subway. Cheesy, but fun. And gosh, if you haven't seen that one as well, so many movie recommendations. I want to recommend all of these to people. Here's the original Suspiria with Jessica Harper again. Dario Argento, one of my favourite filmmakers. One of my favourite horror films. So, it's quite a popular one as well. Taxi Driver and There'll Be Blood as well. Two next to each other. Don't think I need to talk about those two. Once again, very famous movies. Both good movies. Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. I love Twin Peaks. And I love this film. David Lynch, the greatest. The Thing. This is the only John Carpenter movie I own on physical, I believe. But there's also the 2011 prequel that nobody watched. But horror classic. Velvet Goldmine. This is like a fictionalized. It's based on. None of these are in English. It's a horrible cover, but it's based on David Bowie and Iggy Pop, but it's not about them, but it's based on. It's really great. Some people try and hate on it because it's like, it's not the true story, and it's like, it's a film. It's not meant to be the true story, but it's great cast: Christian Bale, Ewan McGregor, Toni Collette, great music. It's like Citizen Kane, but bisexual. Viva la Vie, another great Jean-Luc Godard classic with Anna Karenina. That's a great movie. Another French classic. As is Weekend by Jean-Luc Godard. This one's one of the more political ones. This is a weird movie, but I do like it. And then the last Blu-ray I own is Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah, another great film. Martin Scorsese. So I hope you enjoyed my little Blu-ray collection. If you'd like me to do the DVD collection, because I have a bunch of these, I'd happily do that as well. But thanks for watching, I guess. And you know, if you are returning, seriously, yeah, thanks for watching, and stay beautiful.